This is for Mathematical Methods 3-4. It's tech task number 2, which is domain and range, and how to use a calculator to find these domain and ranges. So for number 1, I have a restricted domain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my keyboard. The equation is 1 minus 3x. I don't need the y. I'm going to open up the window. I'm going to drag and drop the graph. I'm going to restrict the window to the domain, which is less than -1. So the maximum is -1. And I might use -7.7. It doesn't matter what I use. I could go -6, -10, -20. I need to see a pattern of what's happening. And if I go zoom auto, it will then automatically change the y-axis. So this graph is continuing like this forever in this direction. So the largest y value will be infinity, and the smallest y value will be down here. So if I go analysis, G solve F-min is 4, and there it is. Minimum range is 4. It's a square bracket, because that's when x equals -1, and it's a square bracket on the -1, and the domain is exactly this. So in question 2, my domain is exactly this, 2 to infinity, not inclusive of 2. So what I'm like to do is I'll click on graph, edit clear all, so that I can get rid of that graph and get my grid back. And I'm going to, up here, bring up my keyboard, put in a fraction, 1 divided by x plus 1 squared, no, 1 minus x squared, which looks like a truncus. Press X here to make sure that what you've got is exactly what you want. Open up the grid, drag and drop. Obviously it's a truncus with an asymptote at 1, but I have a restricted domain. So I'm going to put that restricted domain in by making my minimum y 2, and my maximum y is infinity, so I'll use 7.7. So I only get that part of the truncus. So the lowest value of y used is 0. So there's my 0. 0 is an asymptote, so I can't equal 0. And if I do analysis, G solve F max, then my largest value is 1. So that's where my 1 comes from. That's when x is approaching 2, never ever equals 2, so it has to be a curved bracket on the 0. Question number 3 is the same one except a different domain. So I'll change my window, going from 1 to 2. And there's my graph. Now one I know is an asymptote. So if I go zoom auto, it's going to go off the page up there, and it's going to approach 2 at the other end. So I know that the maximum will be infinity on the range. The minimum, so analysis G solve F min, will be over here, and it should be when x equals 2. Now on the screen I didn't ever get to 2, so up here if I make x equal to 2, math 3 given x equals 2, it will tell me that when x equals 2, y equals 1. So when x exactly equals 2, y is exactly going to equal 1. So there's my 1 to infinity. Question number 4, I have this quartic that has no restrictions, so the domain is real numbers. So let's type that quartic in, x to the power of 4 minus x to the power of 3 plus 4. Press X here, make sure it looks exactly the way you want it to. Open up a window, zoom auto to get rid of, clear all. Take this, drag and drop. Oh, I can see that there is my graph. If I want to zoom in to see what's actually happening in there, I can see that there is my lowest value of y, and my range is going to be, my domain is going to be all real numbers. My range is going to go up to infinity, but I need to find this value. So if I go analysis, g solve f min. F min is when x equals 0.75 and y equals this, but that's not exact. So if I go up in here and I take given x equals, and I want x to equal 0.75. So I take from what I knew about the x value, 0.75, and make sure that I'm in standard, and then I press X, and there's where my 997256 comes from. Example number 5. So keyboard, put in a fraction. I've got 2x minus 5 divided by x. If I wanted to, I can go interactive, transform fraction to proper fraction. Notice it's turned it into the form of a hyperbola for me. So that I would expect, because I've got an x on the bottom, x can't equal 0, and I would have an asymptote at y equals 2. And I've got a restricted domain happening here, so what I might do is I might graph it and edit, clear all, okay, take this, drag and drop, so there's my hyperbola. I've got a restricted domain that takes me up to 0 only, so I might go -7 up to 0, okay, and I just get that part. If I go zoom auto, that's the part that I see. It's going and approaching 0, and I've got an asymptote at 0. This is going to go up forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, and it's going to go down towards analysis, g solve f min, and f min on the screen is when x equals 0, it's undefined, so it goes off the page. That's going to be that value. So I would expect, because I have an asymptote at 2, my lowest value is going to be 2 on the range, and then it's going to go up to infinity as a hyperbola would do. Question number 6. This is my domain, so from pi on 4 to pi on 3, it's 3 tan of x. So if I bring up the keyboard, 3 trig tan of x, and xe, 3 tan of x, I'm in radians, that's good. I bring up my window, I go edit, clear all, I drag and drop, and I get lots and lots and lots of them. I restrict my domain to pi on 4 to pi on 3. So pi divided by 4 and pi divided by 3. And I just look that bit. Okay, so no, don't move the screen. I need to do that again because I moved the screen. Pi divided by 4, pi divided by 3, and okay, so I'm going from there to there. So if I knew what those values were, analysis, g solve f min, and 3 is the lowest value, and there's my lowest value of the range, which is 3. Because they're inclusive, they're square brackets, so it's square brackets on the 3. And analysis, g solve f max. Damn, it's in decimal, so that's no good. So what I need to do is I need to go back up to my keyboard, I close the bracket, then I put given. I want the endpoint on the right, so I want pi on 3. And I want 3 tan of x given x equals pi on 3, and I get an answer of 3 root 3. So I go from 3 to 3 root 3. I'm going to continue the rest of these in the next video.